All right. All right. Shalom, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, thumb to the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh Shema, Allah thumb by Hashem, Yahweh Shah to the sisters. We're the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge. Started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohanan. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group, nor any other Christian organization. All right. So today is the Lashawan Qadash class. All right. The Lashawan Qadash class. All right. So before we get started, right? Does anybody remember last week's topic? All right. Does anyone participating in class? Does anybody remember last week's topic? All right. Now the reason why I'm asking the question, right? Because there's always a spirit behind everything. The reason why I'm asking the question is because, all right, is because you have, Lucky. It's because last week's lesson is going to help you with the lesson for today's lesson. All right. So does anybody remember the lesson that we were going over? Right, possessive pronouns, right? Most High in Christ. Give the brother a hand, is absolutely correct. So, possessive pronouns was absolutely the lesson last week. Alright? Now, the reason why I wanted us to remember that, right, due to the fact that the same way we do possessive pronouns is the same way we do verb endings. Alright? Now, I wanted to go over verb endings, right? Because we're going at next week's class, or maybe even today's class, we're going to get into verbs. We're going to touch base on verbs today. So we're going to touch base on verbs today, but we're going to focus on the endings, all right? We're going to focus on verb endings. It's the like I said, it's the very same concept of your possessive. It's the same concept of your possessive pronouns. All right. So, all right, it's the same concept. Let's see. Now, before we start, all right. All right, does anybody have any questions? It could be about the scripture, it could be about learning a word, or wanting to know how to say a word in the Lashawan Qadash. Anybody have a question before we get started? All right. anybody has any questions. All right. Let's see if we can get Instagram up in time. All right. So yeah, today, we're gonna be one step closer. By the way, so possessive pronouns, right? Possessive pronouns are very important to learn. That was last week's class. Anyone just coming to class, possessive pronouns was the topic last week. All right. Shalom, Yahbashim Shabbat. So possessive pronouns was the class last week. This week's lesson is going to be similar. So take the same concept from last week's class and what's the word I want to use? And incorporate it with today's class because it will help. All right. Now learning how to use possessive pronouns was taking us a step closer, right? Taking one step closer, Salakia, one step closer to constructing and building sentences. All right. And then now the verbs, learning how to use verbs properly in the ending of verbs is a one more step, right, to articulating and building sentences within the Lashawan Qadash. All right. So let's also keep that in mind. All right. Now verbs are very important to learn, and that's why I want to touch on this topic, right? Can anyone answer me? If anyone can answer me this, right? How can I ask this question right? I want to make sure I ask you guys the question. Shalom, Yahweh ala Thaba Hashem Yahweh. Oh, Salaki. Hey, Salaki sis, I'm gonna put into the chat for the sisters. There's an actual salute. All right. What you did, Salaki, Sister Shakal, what you did was put down you used the brother salute. There's another salute for the sisters. All right. So in the chat, I'll put it. I'll give you the actual salute so you know it from this point on. All right. So when you check into class, Sister Call, you'll know exactly what to say. All right. I'll give you the actual salute so you know it from this point on. All right. In class, Sister Call, you'll know exactly what to say. All right. So if you're looking, if you're on Facebook, that's the proper salute for a sister. Yahweh Shema ala Thaba Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. So when checking in, Most High in Christ. So checking in from this point on, if you want to salute, make sure you put Yahweh Shema ala Thaba Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. Most High in Christ. Shalom, sis. Yahweh Shema Halatah Ba'ashim Yom Shah. Alright. So, back, okay, so I want to ask you guys the question. Verbs, well, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. So, verbs are very, very, very important within sentence structuring. Everything plays a part. You need to know nouns, right? You need to know what nouns are. You need to know what pronouns are, right? You need to know what possessive pronouns are. You need to know what are, adjective pronouns. This is all this is all referring back to sentence structure, right? But what's really important that most people don't understand is that verbs are very important in sentence structure. Very, very important. Like for instance, or to ask a question. How many verbs do you guys usually use in one sentence? Does anybody know? Anybody want to guess how many verbs it is in one sentence? Anybody want to take a guess? How many verbs do you guys usually use, right? So how many verbs do you guys usually use in a sentence? 2? Okay, 2. Anyone else want to take a shot at it? Anybody else want to take? Okay. 2. Sometimes 2. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Compound verbs. Okay. Okay. All right. So, okay. The brother's absolutely right. Okay. Compound verbs. Okay. So, all right. So anyone that said 2 and above, all right, preferably the answer was really 2, right? But I would have accepted anything close to 3, 2 or 3, right? Normally, right? Right? Because it's possible, depending on how long-winded you are and how many commas and pauses you make within a sentence. But normal sentences, when building up a sentence, usually there's 2 verbs, right? 2 verbs are usually in a sentence, right? And that's considered to be a compound verb, meaning it's one verb after the other, right? To give you, let me see if I can give you an example of using a verb. So if I wanted to say, okay, perfect example. If I wanted, so these are, okay, this is an example of having 2 verbs in a sentence, right? Here's an example. I say, I'm going to walk to the store. I'm going to walk to the store. I'm going to walk to the store. Can you guys name me the 2 verbs in that sentence that I'm going to walk to the store? Can anybody tell me the 2 verbs that I used? I'm going to walk to the store. Right, I'm going to walk to the store. While you guys answer that, we'll make sure we're going to start. Well, okay, Anya is the I am, all right, but we're not going to build the sentence yet, all right. We're not there yet. That's I won't. It's Anya hawala halala. We'll talk about, but we're not gonna we're not building the sentence yet. All right. The question is, I'm going to walk to the store, right? I'm going to walk to the store. Can you guys tell me the two verbs? Lock you. Oh man. Yeah. I'm how a lot. Not my rock. God. So lock you. Alright, no sweat. And the brother's correct. Going and walk are my two verbs, right? Going and walk are my two verbs. So going and walk are my two verbs. So with that being said, we're going, halak is going and walk. Halak. So give the sister a hand, she's absolutely right. The verb for going and walk is halak. Alright? The sister's absolutely right. So the verb for going and walk is halak. Alright? We're going to use that verb today. Well, actually, we won't. We're going to use, well, since the sister knew halak was the word, right? Can anybody tell me online? Can anybody tell me online the verb for to give? The verb to give. Can anybody give me to give, right, in the Hebrew? In the Lashawan Qadash. Alright, while you guys give me those answers, I'll make sure I get the boards all set up. Okay. Nathan. Okay. Khan. Y'all been studying. Okay, y'all been studying. Okay, Most High in Christ. Y'all sneaking studying. Y'all some studying, sneaking. Y'all been studying, man. Okay. Nathan. Alright, Nathan, man. So Nathan is to give in the Lashawan Qadash, alright? Nathan is the verb that we're going to use today, right? Nathan is the verb we're going to use today, which means to give, alright? Nathan means to give. Like for instance, like for an example, like the name Nathaniel, right? Which is Nathan Ya'ala in the Hebrew, right? Nathan Ya'ala literally means the giving of the Most High, right? Paraphrasing, but that's literally what it means. So Nathaniel, if you don't know where Nathaniel comes from, well, literally Nathan or Nathaniel comes from the Hebrew word Nathan. All right, Nathan. All right, Nathan. All right. So can everybody see the board? Right? You can say yes or no, or Khan or La'ah. Alright? Can everybody see the board? Everybody see the board. Make sure everybody can see the board. Alright? Khan. Most High in Christ. So we'll get started. So just like the paleo, right? go. So, just like, not to tell you, but just like we did the possessive pronouns, alright? Alright? The possessive pronouns and the possessive adjectives and all them good business, right? We're going to do the very similar format, right? Because it's easier to put on the board and then give examples, alright? Right. So the same format that we use, we're going to put everything on the board, right? So everybody can see it, copy, and put it into their notes. All right. So if verb endings, right? The verb endings are just like possessive pronouns. Where do they go on the verb? The beginning or the end? If they're just like possessive pronouns, where would the endings go? Well, I'm kind of giving you guys the answer, but I want to see if you guys understand where I'm coming from. All right. The Hebrew endings, right? All right. Where would they go? At the end. At the end. Absolutely right. That's exactly where they would go. All right. That's exactly where they would go. So here we go. I got it. All right, back. I'm going to get the rest of the list. All right. Alright. Let me know if you guys can see this too as well. Alright, that's the list right there. Alright. All right. So anyone online participating in class, if you guys can see the board, do you guys see anything familiar? Yes or no? Kind or lie? Do you guys see anything kind of familiar? Sort of familiar? Alright, slight glare. There's a slight glare on the board. Light glare on the board. Let me see if I'll be able to detect it. Alright. We'll see if we can fix that for you. Alright. All right. Let me know if you guys are able to understand, all right, and see the reposition of the words. Is that better for you guys? Are you guys able to see the list a little bit more clear? I may have to reposition the letters outside of the glare. Do you guys still understand what's being put down? Okay, Most High in Christ. Alright. Okay, Most High in Christ. Alright, Salakia. The water for letting me know. Okay. So, do you guys see anything familiar? So, do you guys see anything familiar on the board? There may be a little differences there and there, here and there, but remotely, do you guys see anything similar? Okay. 2 said con so far, okay. Okay, so pretty much to break it down real quick, right? Because of course we got to break everything down, right? This is very, very important to know these, all right? Just like it's very important to understand those possessive pronouns, it is very important to understand, all right, those possessive pronouns. It's just as important to understand these verb endings or quote-unquote personal pronouns. It's just like the pronouns from last week. Right. These are considered personal pronouns. Alright? These are considered to be personal pronouns. Alright? These are personal pronouns like me, you, him, her, us, you know, y'all, them. These are all personal pronouns. Alright? We call them verb endings, right? So we can understand the difference between the possessive pronouns and the ones that are used for verbs. Now, the reason why we say that is because in the English language, alright, in the English language, pronouns, any type of pronoun, regardless if it's a personal pronoun or a possessive pronoun, they are absolutely separated from the actual word itself. So if I wanted to say this is my car, right? Or let's say my house, all right? The last 4 letters on each side has P-A and not S-A, but it's S-S. Lane Styles Accessories, sis. Salakia. Shayara. Salakia. Shayara. So not S-A, Salakia, sis. It'll be S-S. So the P-A means the position of authority tense, and the SS stands for the subservient tense, okay? Because there's 2 types of tenses, all right? Those 2 types of tenses refer the position of authority, meaning you would talk to this person, or this person would be talking to you, right? Well, you would be talking to this person in a position of authority tense, because that person is going to be in a position of authority, all right? Or someone that's over you, right? Then you have the subservient tense, meaning you would most likely be speaking to this person, right, in the subservient tense, all right? It just depends on, it just depends. In most cases, like if we're speaking amongst each other, in most cases, depending on what it is, we'll get further in detail, we'll mostly use the position of authority tense. In most cases, all right? It would be It's not abnormal to use it's not abnormal to use the subservient tense. It just depends on the context and how you use it is when you use it. Okay? So we'll get that we'll get into that later on. All right? All right. So, SS, right? The subservient tense. So, in English, start back from the top. Like so, in English, right? Pronouns, whatever pronoun it may be, like personal pronouns, which are your me, your you, your him, your her, your us, your y'all, your them. And then you have your possessive pronouns, my, yours, hers, his, ours, theirs, all right, or y'all's, either or, right? In English they're separated from the words being used, but in Hebrew they're connected to the words that they use. And the reason why I say this is because, well, let me ask a question. How many of you guys have a Hebrew Bible yet? Either on your apps or select it. How many of you guys so far have a Hebrew Bible? Either paperback, soft cover, hard cover, or you guys have it on your phones. Either or, how many of you guys have a Hebrew Bible? So how many of you guys have a Hebrew Bible? How many? All right, I want to know. Okay, if you guys don't have it yet, make sure you guys get it, especially on your phones. If you don't have one on your phone yet, you most definitely want to get it on your phone, like as soon as possible, as soon as you can. All right, as soon as you can, if you can, as soon as you can. All right. Alright, so if you guys don't have a Hebrew Bible yet, download the app. If you have an iPhone, just put in Hebrew Bible. Alright, if you guys have an Android, just put on Hebrew Bible in your App Store, Google Apps, or your Apple Play Store, whatever it may be called. Even though I have an iPhone, but I don't know what those apps. I really don't know what it's called. I forgot. So like I'm kind of old. So please forgive me. I'm old, so I don't know too much about technology as much as I should. But go onto your phone and put it into your like your Google Play Store or your App Store, for Apple, whatever it may be, and it's put in Hebrew Bible, and it should pop up. And also BLB, which is your Blue Letter Bible. Put in Blue Letter Bible as well. That's also a good app to get on your phone as well. But also look into getting a paperback Hebrew Bible as well. It's very good to have. All right. God, don't sweat. So try to get into the I'm a little old school with it, so I like to read from paper a lot. Time to time I may dibble and dabble in reading the Bible on the phone. But a lot of Hebrew Bibles that are yes, there is an app for the Hebrew Bible. Look into a real good one is look for something called eSword. eSword. So ESWORD. eSword. I believe it's on let's see. It's on your Android and your Apple. Alright? On both phones. Called eSword. That's a good one. Then there's an actual Hebrew Bible that literally will say Hebrew Bible. I paid for this one. I think it was like the eSword one is free. The Hebrew Bible, you may want to. It's about like $5.99. It's good because literally you can click on the words and it'll give you the strong and the meaning of the words. You can put it into the Paleo and the Assyrian. eSword, I believe you can do that too, if I'm not mistaken. Officer Kazak Ahmad knows more about that. I'm gonna get in contact with him about that because I have the app too, and to this day I just can't fathom how to do it. But I just can't. I don't know why I can't. It just won't work for me. I just don't know why. But I have the Hebrew Bible, which I had first before I had eSword on the phone, and it worked. You can actually click on it. They make you pay for it. The white man being the devil. I think it's because he knows a lot of brothers are trying to learn Hebrew, so why not make money off of us, right? That's what I said. But no, it's a really good Bible. You can put it into the it has the English and the Hebrew right next to each other. So I think that's called interlinear. Right? I believe the proper word is interlinear. So there's an interlinear part of the Bible where the English is right next to it and the Hebrew either in the Paleo or the Assyrian script. Alright? So far and so forth along those lines. Okay? So the reason why I asked you guys want to get the Hebrew Bible, because once you start reading the Hebrew, these right here, these words that you see on the board, on nouns and verbs, right? The reason why I brought getting that Bible up, because once you start reading the Hebrew, especially if you're a trooper in the school, you're going to be called up in the Sabbath service to read the Hebrew, and you're going to want to know how to distinguish each words from your Hebrew endings or your possessive pronouns or your personal pronouns. Now, of course, we're going to help you out if if you're just learning. Of course, we're going to help you out throughout the way and tell you what that word is. So don't think that you're going to be a trooper called up during the Sabbath service and you're going to be just left in the dark. No, that's why we have these classes, and that's why we also have the Sabbath service class, because it teaches you how to read and speak the Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? These are teaching tools. All right, this is our culture. It's our heritage to do things like this. All right, the Sabbath service was very important. The Sabbath service is actually, the spirit behind the Sabbath is to be family oriented. That's the perfect time to bring your children into class, and that's where you learn the culture. All right, the Sabbath service is for you to learn the culture and learn the heritage of the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. So also keep that in mind. All right. So back to the Bible. When you're reading the Bible, you're going to see words. You're going to be able. Okay, when you read the Bible, some of those words that you see, they're going to be really long. You're going to be like, oh my God, why are there so many letters, man? It's because when we use pronouns and when we use possessive pronouns and when we use what's the other pronoun? Personal pronouns, they are connected to the noun or the verb. All right. So possessive pronouns are connected to the actual noun, while personal pronouns, right? Personal pronouns. Let me see this. Okay, so personal pronouns, right, and possessive pronouns, like your possessive pronouns, are attached to the actual word itself, to the actual verb itself. Then you have your possessive pronouns, and they are attached to the noun itself. So when you're reading it in the Bible as the Hebrew, you're going to be like, oh my God. Like, oh my goodness, these words are so long. No, you have to be able to, you're going to have to study, all right, and come to class. Because you're going to have to be familiar or familiarize yourselves with these verbs and nouns that you learn throughout the way. Like, for an example, bayah. Bayah means house in the Hebrew, right? House is throughout the Bible. But bayat is never going to be by itself due to the fact that it's a noun. So you're going to see some of these words that you see on the board. You're going to see some of these personal pronouns that are on the board next to the word or the noun bayat. Alright? Which is a noun. Right? Possessive pronouns usually go to nouns. Alright? Alright? And so, like, for an example, like if I want, like, you know, bayatka, meaning your house, or my house, bayafya, right? Usually at times, the only time you see bayaf by itself is when it says bayaf yasha'ala, meaning house of Israel. But sometimes, even then, sometimes you may see certain grammar there too, but we'll get there. All right, we'll get there. We're gonna baby step everything, but I'm just letting you guys know to prepare yourselves to understand the Hebrew language at its fullest. All right, you have to make sure you get the Hebrew Bible and study and familiarize yourselves with this, man. You understand? Because it's very important for us. All right, so I'm gonna break everything down. So in the Assyrian script, you have your yah. This is what your yah looks like in the Assyrian. All right, your Assyrian script is your modern script. All right, so your Assyrian script is your modern script. Okay, so your Assyrian script is your modern script. Let me see here. So your Assyrian script is your modern script. This is your yah, which means me, right? So yah is me. So the personal pronoun, so like I said, personal pronoun. So actually, so like I did use that right. Your personal pronoun is your me. Yah is me. Your next personal pronoun, right, or your verb ending is ka, which is you. Now remember, in the Assyrian script, this is the ka that you're looking for, because this is the ka that goes at the end of a word. That's why if you actually paid close attention when I was teaching these classes, I would always say, these are the letters that go behind or in front of a word. I always said word because nouns and verbs are what? They're words. Right? Verbs and nouns are words. So that's why I said these letters go in the front or behind a word, and this is how you tell the difference. Right? Because here we go. We're finally into the lesson where it makes sense. Like, oh snap. This is where we actually apply what we learned in previous classes. Alright? We are finally applying what we have learned in previous classes. So this is your ka. This is the ka that you would see at the end of a word, right? Which is the verb in this case, which is your personal pronoun ka, which is you. Alright? Then you have your wa. Your personal pronoun is wa, which is him. In the Assyrian, this is your ha, another personal pronoun, which is her. Then you have nawa, which is another personal pronoun, which is us. Alright? Bonus. Here's a bonus question. Alright? Bonus question. Specifically on nawa. Nawa, in this case, is a personal pronoun that goes behind a verb, which means us. Right? My question is, if anyone knows, what's nawa by itself? With no verb and no noun. What's nawa by itself? Because you may see that. Nawa. What's nawa by itself? Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Anybody else? Anybody else want to get a shot? All right, I see one answer. Anybody else want to give it a shot? It's not us. It's okay. It's not us. It's not us because us will never be by itself. Remember, us is a personal pronoun. So us wouldn't be by itself. So us will always be connected to a verb because it's a personal pronoun. But nawa alone, that's not connected to a verb nor a noun, what would it be? What word is that? What's the meaning of that? Anyone else want to give it a shot? Give y'all a few moments to see if anybody is able to answer the question. I see one answer, two answers. Anybody else want to give it a shot? All right, gave it another shot. Okay. Anybody else want to give it a crack at it? Okay. All right. Either y'all been studying behind my back, or y'all just smart, which I think y'all doing both. All right. You guys are doing both, all right? So nawa, when nawa is by itself, right? Not nawa. I believe you may be referring, sis, you might be referring to nawa, right? Which means fishing. I believe that's what you may be referring to. All right? Not fishing. All right? I think you may be referring to nawa. All right, hold on 1 second. All right, not fishing, but nawa, right? Nawa, which means hour if it's by itself. That was a bonus question. All right. Now, how do we know that? All right. How do we know that it was hour? Well, you guys know my precept already, right? Right? You guys already know it, and I want you guys to say it in Hebrew. How do we know that? Say it in Hebrew. Where's my precept? And I want you guys to say it in Hebrew in the live chat. How do we know that it was our? Okay, say it in Hebrew. If you guys remember, say it in Hebrew. I see one. Okay, that's right. That's right. The sis is correct. That is right. It does come from the Lord's Prayer, but say the actual line in Hebrew. All right. Abanawa. There you go. Our Father. Abanawa. There you go. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Okay. 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 Y'all know it. Okay. And that is a possessive pronoun. So Salakia, that's a possessive pronoun, and it's attached to a noun. Salakia, absolutely correct. You guys are absolutely correct. It is connected to a noun, Abanawa. All right, Abanawa. In most cases, it's connected to the noun. Sometimes you may see it by itself. All right. It depends on how it's being used. All right. It just depends on how it's being used. Okay. It just depends how it's being used, and depends who, it depends on who's described that day. They may want to connect it, they may not want to. All right. The proper way is to connect it to the verb, by the way, or the noun, either or. All right. In our language, we have slang and grammar and all that stuff too. Okay. Our language itself is pretty much slang as well. All right. It's almost like a slang language, just about. It's chopped up. But Abanawa, our Father, right? But Nawa is us, right? Sometimes, to be exact, you'll see Nawa as an us by itself in the Hebrew, because you like give to us, right? You would probably think that it would say Nathan Nawa, meaning give us. But actually it would say Nathan, and it would stop at Nathan, and then it would be a space, and it would say Lanawa, meaning to us. La is to, Nawa is us. We'll get to that. Because there are letters that come in front of a word that means something too. Alright? But we're going to focus on what we have in front of us, all right? Because that's today's lesson, all right? And actually, next week's class, we're going to focus on the words that come in front of nouns and verbs and etc., right? Then we'll get into verb, conjugating verbs and the proper way. For example, there's a present tense, there's a future tense, and there's a past tense. I'll say that one more time, right? Because we're on verbs right now, right? We're learning how to use verbs. There is a future tense, there's a past tense, and there's a present tense. It sounds a little bit like Spanish, right? In the Spanish language, you have different tenses. You have the present tense, the future tense, and you have the past tense. Within those tenses, the verbs kind of change. You have regular verbs, and then you have irregular verbs, right? In Spanish, if you guys kind of remember from Spanish class, or if you guys already speak Spanish, in Spanish, you guys have irregular verbs and regular verbs, and also that plays in a very important part when you're putting these verbs in the present tense, the future tense, or the past tense. Well, in Hebrew, you have regular verbs throughout, no irregular verbs, all right, just regular verbs for now, all right. I won't get too far into that, but for now we have regular verbs, all right, because I don't want to confuse you guys. We have regular verbs, and these verbs are conjugated a certain way, all right, but it's not like Spanish. They don't change completely. They're still very similar, All right. So we have a present tense, a past tense, and a future tense. And we'll focus on one tense at a time. All right. We'll focus on one tense at a time. I'll say that one more time. We'll focus on one tense at a time because we have to go through, well, you guessed it, we have to go through all of our pronouns, which is like your you, right? Your I, you, your, or whatever. And it's, her and his and all that, him, he, she, I, or I am, you, we, they, their. You guys get the point. Alright? So one tenth at a time that day. Alright? So don't get too overwhelmed, but this is the basics right here. These are the words, alright, that come behind the verb. Do you guys have everything written down? Before I erase it on the board, make sure you guys took your notes. Do you guys pretty much have it down? Alright? If not, it's okay. Alright? Because this class will always be saved on YouTube. This class will be on YouTube. We have a Facebook page. Please, if you're watching now, please go on Facebook and look up Isupk Virginia and like our page and follow our page and add us as a friend. Alright? On YouTube, subscribe to us. If you have a Twitter or Instagram, find us. Just put in Isupk Virginia and we'll pop up. Alright? TikTok, we're on TikTok. Alright? We're on TikTok. Make sure you do that as well. Alright? Please support. Alright? The water. Alright? So please, Bubba Shah, do that for me. Alright? Kaya Wafia for me. Alright? Alright. We're going to get some examples on the board. Alright. So let's put things into perspective. Alright. Alright. So, anyone online? The verb we're using is nathan. Alright. Can you guys now, how would you say, alright, so we're going to practice a little bit, alright? We're going to practice a little bit. And I want to see you guys put everything in perspective on what you guys learned today and learned last week. Here's a little test. Alright? Take your time and use your notes too. It's an open book test, alright? It's an open book test. This is how you learn. Alright? Let's say it's an open book test, alright? So, the verb is nathan. Somebody give me a noun. Get somebody online, choose a noun to use. Alright, someone online, choose a noun to use. We're going to make a sentence. Okay, not a pronoun. Give me a noun to use. Like the nouns we've learned. Not pronouns. Ya is a pronoun. And ya could either be ya could be a possessive pronoun, or ya could be a personal pronoun. I'm looking for a noun. Kaza. Alright, tell me what kaza means. I think I may know what you're referring to, but you may be you might be typing it incorrectly. It may not be kaza. You might be saying something else. It's not kaza. Alright. Okay, Nathan is the verb. Alright. And let's see. And Bahayar. Alright. So let's use Bahayar. I meant, ahab, Salaki. Alright. Ahab. Okay, if that's love. Okay. But Bahayar. Alright. Bahayar Nathan. Then you say, okay, Ahab. Okay, so Ahab. Okay. Well, let me see. How, okay, so Nathan and Ahab. You want to use Nathan and Ahab. Now, Ahab is a little tricky because the Ahab can be a noun and a verb. Okay? So, but we'll see, we'll figure it out. Alright? We'll most definitely figure it out. So, let's say, alright, if anybody wants to give it a shot, right? Kasa. Alright, Kasa. We'll use Kasa after we use Aha. How would you say, give me your love? How would you say, give me your love? Alright. How would you say give me your love? Based off your notes and based off what we were learning, how would you say give me your love? How would you say give me your love? No, but you're close. All right, so like you're close. You're met, but the rule. But okay, you have everything right. Make sure you put ahab together. Ahab is together. All right, ahab is one word, but it may have separated because of its your keyboard may not be Hebrew friendly sometimes, but it's not Yonathan Ka'ahab. Because what you just said is I'll tell you exactly what you just said. Yonathan is he give, and once you hit enter, it probably separated itself. Yeah, it's because it's not Hebrew friendly, but it's not Yonathan or Ka'ahab, because what you just said is Yonathan is actually he gives, right, and Ka'ahab meaning like love. Right? Okay. Give me your love. Alright? But so remember, Yonathan is he gives. Alright? Yonathan is he gives. Alright? So that's not quite it. And then Ka'ahab is like love. Because ka meaning like or as in front of a word, which we'll learn sometime next week or the week after. So ka'ahab is like love. Remember, it's very important, by the way. That's why I asked the question too. It's very important where to place these letters, because you change the entire meaning of the sentence you might create, or the entire meaning of the word itself. It's so important, right? Because you see, when I read that, it's an actual word, and it's actual Hebrew. Yonathan meaning he gives, and Ka'ahab is like love, right, or as love. It's not give me your love. You see what I'm saying? So it changes the sentence. So that's a prime example of how to be very, very careful, right? Very, very careful when we're placing these letters, right, or these pronouns and personal pronouns at, all right, especially when talking. Because imagine if me and you are both speaking Hebrew, and you're like, yeah, man, Yonathan Kahab. I'm like, he gives your love. He gives as love. He gives like love. He gives like a love. I don't get it. Who's his love? You know what I'm saying? I would be kind of confused. So it's like, but we're all learning, so no sweat, of course, but close. So William, you're very close. So try again, but switch it up, because you have it right. Kimberly says, let's see. Kimberly said, Nathan Layahab. All right. Or Nathan Awathia Ahab. Okay. Not Nathan Awathia. All right. The reason why it wouldn't be Awathia, because in this case, there's a verb and you can just easily say yeah. So you wouldn't use Awathia here. All right. If there's a verb before it,
you don't have to use awafia, and that's a little advanced, right? But based off the notes that we had from last week and this week, use the pronoun chart and use the possessive pronoun chart and use the and the personal pronoun chart that we just learned today. But Nathan Awafia Ahab, I won't say that's correct because there's a verb in front of Awafia, and that wouldn't make that wouldn't be right grammatically. That wouldn't be correct. So for future references, by the way, that wouldn't be grammatically correct, Kimberly, due to the fact that Nathan is a verb, and there's a way to say me. All right, that ya at the end of awafia, right? That awaf in front of that ya is to understand that there's no verb behind it, or no noun in front of it, or no verb in front of it. Okay, that awaf. All right. So it wouldn't be Nathan Awafia Ahab. Anybody want to give it a shot? Ayan says Yahweh Nathan Nawa Levwa. La'ab, that's not it. It said it couldn't change the E around on my phone. No sweat, I understand what you're saying, but that's not it. It says give me your love in Hebrew. So give me your love. Try it. I'll give you guys one more shot at it. Give me your love. William was very close, so I want him to try one more time too, because he's very close. So try one more time. All right, Kimberly, you're also close, but I want you to use more so your possessive pronouns and your personal nouns. All right, I want you to use more so of your possessive pronouns and your personal nouns, but you're close to as well. Okay, so give me your love. I'll give you guys one more shot, then I'll write it on the board. All right, as an example. All right. Okay, all right, so, okay, William, you're you're so close. Okay, your ahabka is correct, but your Nathan is still not correct. Remember, your possessive pronouns are very similar to your personal pronouns, like your verbs. So change up your ya. All right, your ya is not in the right place. You're saying he gives your love, right? He gives your love. Yeah, he's giving your love, right? So that your sentence you made was he, because ya in front of a verb, it means he. All right, he. Ya in front of a verb means he. All right. All right. So ya in front of a verb means he. Ya in front of a verb means he. Nathanya Ahabka. There you go. Most High in Christ. Give the brother a hand. Nathanya Ahabka.
Nathaniel Ahab is absolutely correct. Let's get on the board. All right. You can write that example on your boards. All right. On this side, let me know about the glare, okay? All right. And I'll switch things around, all right? But I'm gonna do my best to keep in mind where that glare may or may not be. All right.
All right. And I see. Okay. Can everybody see the board properly? And let me know if there's any glares that I need. Any glares that I need to change up and switch up for you. All right. Let me know for Book Shot. All right, Most High in Christ. Let me know if I need to switch anything up for you guys. I did my best to look out for the glares. I'm sure I may have a glare here and there. Just let me know. I may have I may have to yeah. Just move it over a little bit. Alright. See if I can fix that for you guys on the board. I see a few glares I may have to be. Alright, let me know if that's is that better for you guys? Let me see. All right. Let me know if that helped you guys. Me repositioning the words. Let me know if you guys can still see it. All right. Okay. Alright, let me guys know if I gotta move anything around still. It says 2 glare spots on the left side, con. Alright, I see them. I wonder what's like that.
Okay. All right. Let me know if everyone can still see the board perfectly fine. All right. All right. That should be better. All right. Okay, that's better. Most High in Christ. All right, let's break it down. All right, you guys can still see the board, correct? All right, so here we go. We're going to break it down. All right, so what we have on the board is, right, and this is of, coming together and what verbs and what verb and what noun we wanted to use, and also use what we learned, right? So the question was, how would we say, give me your love? All right? So, this is your na in the Assyrian. This is your tha in the Assyrian. This is your na, right? And this is your ya. Put it together, that's Nathanya, right? Which we have right here. Nathanya. Nathanya. Nathanya, right? So Nathanya is how you would say give me. Alright? Nathanya is how you would say give me. Alright? Nathanya is how you would say give me. Alright? Then you have this is your in the Assyrian. This is your ha in the Assyrian. This is your ba in the Assyrian. And then this is your ka in the Assyrian. But this is the type of ka you would always see at the end of a word. Alright? And that's ahabka. 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 Right? Ahab. Right? Ahabka. Ahabka. So, which is right here. Ahabka, which means your love. So Nathan is the verb, right? And your ya is your personal pronoun. That's where you get to give me. Give me. Nathan is the verb, and your ya is the personal pronoun. So your Nathan is the verb, which means give or to give, and your ya is the personal pronoun, which is me. So give me, right? Then you have ahab. Ahab is love. Now ahab, this is specifically in particular to ahab. All right. Ahab is ahab can either be a verb or a noun. In this case, ahab is being used as a noun. Right? Ahab in this case is being used as a noun. Alright? So ahab, right? Ahab is ahab is love. Ahab. And then your ka is your. So your ahab is the noun here. Right? Ahab is the noun being used. And your ka is that possessive pronoun being used, which is your. So ahab is the noun, and then your ka is your possessive pronoun, which is your. So ahab is being used as your noun, and then your ka is your possessive pronoun, which is your, which is ahabka, which is your love. So Natanya ahabka, your love. So give me your love, Natanya ahabka. So if you want to be like, hey man, or hey sis, Natanya ahabka, give me your love. You know what I'm saying? Natanya ahabka. So, right? So practice that. Natanya ahabka. Natanya ahabka. Like, just practice it. Natanya ahabka. And just get used to it. Get a little fluent with it. Be like, hey, Natanya ahabka, give me your love. You may have a rib,
you know what I'm saying? You have a wife, and you may want to be like, hey, give me your love, you know? Nathan Yahabka, you know? Be like, you know, give y'all a little, you know, if y'all want some, you know, tips, you know, give y'all, you know, Nathanya Ahabka. Give me your love, alright? Alright? Now, in paleo, alright? In the paleo, it's the very same thing, alright? Nathanya Ahabka, right? So you have your na and the paleo. So your paleo is the ancient script, alright? So your paleo is your ancient script. Alright? I need my glasses. So Nathanya, this is your na, right? This is your na right here. This is your tha. This is your na. So your paleo script is your ancient script, alright? Alright? This is the most common, okay, not common script. In ancient times, this is what would be written. In the time of Christ, this is what we wrote. On the time of Moses, Joshua, Malachi, this is the script that we wrote. But on the contrary, we also wrote this too. But we always kept this because this is the original tongue. This right here, there was no way to put vowels on it. Alright? So, you know, but that's a topic for another day. So this is your na in the paleo. This is your tha in the paleo. This is your na in the paleo. This is your ya in the paleo. Alright? Which is your Nathanya. And this is your ahabka. This is your ah in the paleo. Almost looks like an A, right? It almost looks like an A. Like this is one of the Hebrew language. The Lashawan Qadash is one of the oldest languages on the earth. So a lot of the things you may see, it comes from our language, and it was taken from our language. Like your na, that's just an N with a hook, upside down. All right. So this is your ah. All right. This is your ah. This is your ha, and this is your ba. Aha, ka. Right, and this is your ka. So this is your ah, your ha, your ba, and your ka in the paleo. Put it together, ahabka. Ahabka. Ahab, right, is your main word. Alright? This is your main word, ahab. Alright, ka. Right, ahabka. Meaning Nathanya ahabka. Nathanya ahabka. Nathanya, which means give me. Nathan is your give. Your ya, which is possessive pronoun. Salaki. Your personal pronoun, which is your me. Then ahab is your noun, and then your ka is your possessive pronoun. Right? Nathanya ahabka. Nathanya ahabka, which means give me your love. Alright? Nathanya ahabka. Nathanya ahabka. How do I spell girl in Hebrew? Yeladah. Alright? Yeladah. Alright? I'll put it into the chat for you. Alright? Yeladah is girl. Alright? Yeladah. Okay, so if you're on Facebook, alright, so the brother asked, alright, how do you say girl? How do I spell girl in Hebrew? Alright. So, I'm going to go ahead and put it into the chat on Facebook. and on YouTube and Twitter. Alright. But I'm also going to go a little further than that so I can teach you guys something real quick. Alright. Alright, let me know when you guys see that in the group chat on Facebook and on YouTube. So do you guys see girl and boy on Facebook and YouTube? Most High in Christ. The reason why I put boy there is because I want you guys to see the similarities and the difference. There's a way, you guys are going to learn this in this class, alright? You guys are going to learn this eventually, and you guys are going to learn it today, but it's not going to be on the board, alright? For time's sake, it won't be able to, alright? So, there's a way, how can I say it? There is a way to make something subservient, or sometimes there's a way to make something feminine. Alright, depending on the context, it will be either subservient or feminine. Like, depending on the context, it would either be in the position of authority or masculine. Depending on the context and the way it's said and the way it's being written. And I'm saying that for a reason. There is a way to make a verb feminine. Well, I mean, not a verb, but make a word like referring to a woman. Alright? Then there's a way to make a verb, right, or a word, or I should say, to make it talk to someone that's in a subservient position. Alright? But it's the same, but it depends on the context. Right? Like, for instance, like, okay, Yalad is boy, but to make Yalad, right, to make that word Yalad, that means boy or child, into like saying girl, you put a ha at the end of it, which turns it into Yeladah. Yeladah. Instead of Yalad is Yeladah. Instead of Yalad is now Yeladah, which means girl. Right? Right? That's putting that word in the feminine tense. Now, if you're speaking, now in this case, now this is context. Now, if I'm a father, right, and I'm talking to my child, right, and that child is a boy, right, I would still use Yalad, even though my son would be, or that boy would be in a subservient position. But I would still use Yalad, because it depends on the context. Because if I say Yeladah, I would be calling that boy or my son a girl. Does that make sense to anyone? Hopefully I didn't lose anyone. Does that make sense? Okay, Most High in Christ. Alright. Anybody else understand what I was putting down? Anybody else? Let me know if I lost anyone. This won't be the first time or the last time. But context is everything in the Lashawan Qadash. Make sure you guys put this in your notes. Alright? I won't change it off the board yet until you guys put it in your notes. Use this example, but switch it up and practice it by using and using the entire chart and like just mess with it, use different verbs and nouns that you may already know too, and just kind of play with it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you learn, and that's how you teach others. Like for an example, don't think and I don't want you brothers and sisters to get discouraged too, because I thought the same thing, right? There's brothers and sisters in the school that speak Hebrew as if they knew it their whole lives, and I admire them. You know what I'm saying? I admire them, and they'll speak to me fluently, right? And I'll be like, man, I don't know what that is. I'm like, oh man, I didn't understand a word you just said. And I'll be the one teaching class, right? Teaching the Hebrew class, and I didn't understand what they said, right? Quote unquote, I'm not saying I didn't understand anything, right? But there's certain words that you may or may not know, depending on what they say and how they use it. And this is the reason why I say this, right? In the English language, my question is to everyone, do we know every word in the English language? This is very. I really want you guys to so you guys can understand this. Do we know every word in the English language? Like English is our primary language, right? So, do we know every word in the English language? Well, no, right? No. You guys wouldn't, right? La'ah, exactly. Of course, we wouldn't know every word in the English language, right? Of course not. That would be crazy. You would be a genius. There's probably someone out there that knows every word, right? Well, guess what? In Hebrew, you may not know every word, right? Right. But in the English language, are there common words that you should know? Like how we're speaking now and how we're communicating amongst each other now in the English. There are words and words that are common that we should know. Like that, right? Well, guess what? We're going to know those words. And that's the and how we speak now to each other is the basics of the English language. You know what I'm saying? We're not using words like infrastructure and being deplorable or saying words like equanimity and these fancy crazy words that may mean the same thing, but this is another way to say it. That's in every language. Alright? Just like in the Hebrew, man. Don't be discouraged because someone is speaking fluent to you. You're going to be able to understand, right? But you may not know every word, right? That person may use another word, but you may use it a different way. Like for an example, right? If I'm talking to Captain Mashak and I use the verb halak, which means to go or walk, right? Like for instance, the verb to go or walk is halak. Halak, halak, right? Right? Which means to go or to walk, right? But I may use that, but let's say I'm talking to Captain Mashak, he may not use halak. He may use yalak, right? Yalak, right? He may use something of that, but it still means to go or to walk, right? But it's still halak at the end of the day. It just giving you guys an example. Don't read too much into what I'm saying because you guys will get there and you guys will really understand what I'm saying. But I just don't want you guys to be discouraged and be like, man, I'm never going to be able to learn all this. No, you guys will be able to. All right, you guys most definitely will be able to learn this language and come not even come close. You guys will be able to speak this language fluently. All right, just give it time. Natanya Ahabka, we mean give me your love. So practice this, right? And kind of just mix it in between like I said, just mix it in between and play with it a little, and and just do some self-study, all right? So you guys can get better each day about this, all right? It's all about, progression. It's all about repetition. It's all about rehearsing the righteous acts, all right? That's all this is about, all right? And that's exactly how you do it. So when you say Natanya Ahabka, meaning give me your love, Natanya, which means give me, Ahabka, which means your love, Natanya Ahabka, meaning give me your love. All right? All right? Give me your love. That's what it is. All right? All right? Give me your love. Natanya Ahabka Tayanawak. You know what I'm saying? Give me your love. Baby. I said baby. Tayanawak is baby. All right? I gave you guys a little secret there for y'all men out there. Y'all Tayanawak is baby in the Hebrew. All right? So if y'all really want to, go ahead and do what you do, if y'all want to use the Hebrew language, be like, Natanya Ahabka Tayanawak, give me your love, baby, whatever y'all want to do. Don't sweat. All right. So that's the class. We'll go ahead and get the announcements. He said, Khan, that sounds real smooth. Khan. All right, with that, we'll get the announcements. All right. ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21. Malachi chapter 3 verse 8 through 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation. Alright, would be the Feast of Purim. Alright, February 24th to the 25th. 24th to the 25th is about the sister Esther. Alright, come to class that day. If you are a sister, you'll truly learn what a woman of God truly looks like. She is a true example. She is, praised for what she did for the nation of Israel. Alright, we say that a lot of people look bad on the ISUPK and be like, oh, sisters aren't treated right, sisters ain't this. Listen, that's the outside looking in. And they're just lying. They're not telling the truth. We praise our sisters in the ISUPK. We praise our sisters that are in the truth because these are sisters truly women of God. They're not the mother of the church. They're not Big Mama. They ain't that loudmouth whore in the world. These are sisters that truly learned how to be women of God and truly learned their worth, which is a price above rubies. Right? These are all scriptures that you will learn on that day of class too. You understand? A lot of our sisters are misled nowadays because they truly don't know. They truly don't know what it means to be a woman anymore. And no thanks to the Christian church, the image of a woman has been completely destroyed and completely eradicated. So it's very important as a woman come to class that day and truly learn what a woman did to save the nation of Israel. All right, like that sister really, like it was a sister. It wasn't a brother. It wasn't a warrior. It wasn't a soldier. It was a sister. But she did it in the most womanly way ever. She didn't do it. She didn't say I'm gonna fight on the front lines like I'm a man. She didn't say I'm independent like a man. She didn't say I could, I'm equal to a man. No, this sister saved Israel by being a woman and being how a woman is supposed to be. All right, being submissive, being subservient, being respectful. You know what I'm saying? Being obedience according to the law. That's what this sister did. All right, and the nation of Israel was saved after that. You know what I'm saying? They were in a better position than they were because of so. The next holy convocation, all right, is the Passover, April 24th at the BH Ranch in Houston, Texas. Do not miss out. All right, I just ordered my garments from Captain Qadash. If you're looking for garments, talk to Captain Qadash. If you want more information on that, especially if you're in the Virginia school too, or you really want to come to Passover, get in contact with the Virginia school, and we'll help you get a garment. If you're a trooper, we'll help you get an all-black garment. If you are if you're a young man and you want to be trooper status, listen, we'll get you a black garment. And if you want to come to Passover, just communicate with us. If you're a young man, please communicate with us, and we'll work with you and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're adamant, we'll give you all the details that you need. We'll get you in contact with Captain Qadash. He makes garments. The brothers makes garments. We'll put you in the right direction, man. We just got some garments. We just got 4 garments coming. So that's real to odd. Make sure you get, as a sister, get your dresses. All right, get your dresses, get your Passover feeds in there, man. Listen, it's gonna be ATV riding, horseback riding, fishing. There's gonna be a lot going on. Unleavened bread. There's gonna be some lamb there. If you're a brother looking for a rib, pay attention to the corsages. All that stuff. Everything's gonna be there. All right, you're going to have a good time. You guys are going to enjoy yourselves, whatever it may or may not be, whatever it is. You guys are going to meet new brothers. You're going to meet new sisters, and it's going to be a great time. You're going to enjoy each other, and you're going to truly know, I'm going to be real with you, all right? Real quick, I'm going to be real with you before we get to the prayers. Coming to the Passover is a glimpse of what the kingdom of heaven is going to look like. For real. It's like a glimpse of what the kingdom of heaven is going to look like, where all blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians actually come together. You will see Native Americans there. You will see Hispanics there. And you will see so-called blacks there. And we're all going to come together as if we lived together our entire life. It's literally the glimpse of the kingdom of heaven. And it's going to truly make you understand how beautiful this truth is. And God forbid you turn your back on it, because you'll truly. The Passover is such a beautiful event in so many ways, especially spiritually and also physically. All right. With that, I say Amoyu, which means to stand. Sa Panya Hakudam, which means turn and face the east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayu, Qadash, Hayah. Shemka, Yahweh, Malakaka, Daba'a, Mutazaka, Hayya, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayya, Bashemai, Nathanawa, Lacham, Kal, Yawam, Wasalak Lanawa, Kabawak Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawak Yanawa, Wala'a, Dabiya'a Nawa, Banasayawan, Abo, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahabapara, La Awalamium, Aman. In the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, and forever. So be it. The curses, the prayer of the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, in all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and the nations, and the drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Israelite synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Egyptology, Aryan Nation, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, master space programs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street. Open up the internet and the airwaves, the cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues. Let loose all the plagues. Let loose all the plagues. Cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahweh, Michael and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media, through the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh, thank you always. So be it. Saw, which means to turn. We're going to give a courteous salute, men of Israel. We're going to give a courteous salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat. Amadim Barak. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua B'Kathah. Yadim Matah. Saw. Sar La'agwafi means turn to the sisters. We're going to give a courteous salute to the sisters. Men of Israel. We're going to salute the sisters. Men of Israel. Aymanim Shabbat. Aymanim Barak. Yahweh Shema Al-Thun Ba'Ashim Yahushua. Yadim Matah. Class dismissed.